July is here. I hope you're having a great summer so far. New month means a lot of new game releases. There are definitely a few bangers releasing in July and a few interesting titles to keep an eye on. Let's get to my 12 recommendations for the month of July. First out in July we have Arc of Sharon, which looks pretty cool. It's a combination between a management sim and a tower defense game as you protect the new sapling of the world tree in order for life to return. In standard management sim fashion, you'll have to gather resources, unlock technologies, construct buildings and defenses, as you'll have to defend against monsters attacking every night. I really like the idea for the game. I hope the balancing is good. I like when sim games are a bit more stressful. You know attacks are imminent here, so you will have to get up defenses and hopefully improve them as harder and harder waves of enemies will attack you. Developed by Ango and Sunsoft, release is planned for 9th of July. Then we have Angerfoot. I've been looking forward to this game for a long time now. I mean, it looks like so much fun. The new trailer shows off a lot more of the game, the different shoes you can equip, the abilities they have, from the flash kicks that lets you unleash a barrage of kicks at the enemies, to the floaters that makes everything float, to the uppercutters that kicks everything up into the air. The game looks crazy and a lot of fun. Can't wait to play this one. Developed by Free Lives, release is planned for 11th of July. Yowling Mythical Journey. I played this one during the last Steam Next Fest and found it interesting. It's an RPG in a semi-open world and it's a bit like Pokemon. The Yowlings in the game are similar to Pokemon's as they are out in the world, can be captured and used in combat. The combat in the game, however, is played automatically. You get to place the Yowlings on the battlefield before the battle, and during the battle you can also use charms to buff, heal and debuff the enemies. There is a story here with demons and whatnot, but overall a pretty well put together package, at least the demo. I really like the battle formula. All the Yowlings are also good at different things, so you can definitely strategize a bit when building your team. Developed by Raika Studio, release is planned for 16th of July. Next up we have Cataclysmo. This is a real-time strategy game with base building. During the day you'll have to build up your defenses, build up your castle, you have preset buildings, you can also build whatever you want brick by brick. There are over 100 different pieces to build with as you optimize your production within your castle. During the night you'll have to defend against waves of enemies. You have different troops in order to defend with different specialities. You also have equipment like flaming arrows, poison, claw traps and much more in order to help you survive. Looks fun to me. I haven't played the demo, I'm waiting for the full release for this one. Developed by Digital Sun, release is planned for 16th of July. Next up we have Flock, a very cute and relaxing game all about flight and discovery. You are basically a flying sheep herder tending to your flying creatures. There seems to be a lot of them to find in the game as you explore, and if you manage to charm them, they will join your flock. Game can be played in co-op as well. The only fear I have for the game is if there is enough in the game. If it's just flying around collecting these creatures, I think the game might be a bit niche, but it looks great and might be a great game just to jump in and chill with a friend or a partner. Developed by Hollow Ponds and Richard Hogg, release is planned for 16th of July as well. Then we have Nobody Wants to Die. This is a pretty game with some high-end graphics, all thanks to Unreal Engine 5. This one is still made by a small team, I think of 20 people or so. Game takes place in New York, year 2329, so quite far into the future, where you play as the detective James Cara. He takes an off-the-book case from his chief, which leads him down a path where he risks everything in pursuit of a killer. The game puts a lot of emphasis on the narrative side, with some interesting tools to solve the murders you have in front of you. This one looks insanely good. I can't wait to play this one. Developed by Critical Hit Games, release is planned for 17th of July. Then we have Path of the Teal Lotus, a very stylized Metroidvania type game inspired by Japanese folklore. The character and the environments are very impressive. I really like the style of the game. Very vibrant and everything is hand-drawn as well. Looks to be a fast and fluid game, lots of abilities and summons. You also have a staff which you can transform yourself with, all while exploring the game's interconnected world on your journey to unravel the mysteries of your origin. Developed by Squid Shock Studios, Christopher Stair and Trevor Youngquist, release is planned for 17th of July. Dungeons of Hindenburg takes you to the Alpine village of Hindenburg as you play the protagonist Louisa. She's on a vacation to conquer the dungeons of the area. The game takes you to a bunch of different locations with challenging puzzles, monsters to fight, quests to complete, different ways to travel the environment and more. There seems to be a lot you can do in the game. The fights or the enemy encounter seems to be in arenas, and between them you have puzzles and a bit of exploration. The combat looks fine. I think this could be an enjoyable game. And the cel-shaded graphics looks awesome as well. Developed by Microbird Games, release is planned for 18th of July. Trim. I covered this game in my last Steam Next Fest video as well. This is a super cute little game where you play as Shrim, the soul and spirit of a person. Early in the game you get separated from your person, and now you have to find your way back before it's too late. The gameplay is simple and straightforward. You dwell in the shadows and have to jump between them in order to try to find your way back. You can also interact with the environment, but much like the game's art style, the gameplay is minimalistic as well. But they have really done a great job with the art style. The game really pops and looks amazing. Developed by Eward van der Werf and Niels Sleekerman, sorry if I butchered those names, release is planned for 18th of July. Next up we have Exophobia. I had this one on my Metroidvania list at the start of the year, as this is a combination between a Metroidvania and an old school FPS. In Exophobia you find yourself in a spaceship overrun by aliens. You'll have to explore and fight your way through the ship in order to figure out what happened. Your weapon can be evolved in the game, granting you new abilities and making it possible to access new spaces. The ship is big with several floors, challenging bosses and rooms filled with enemies. I really like the throwback graphics, it looks great. This one is developed by Sark Attack, release is planned for 23rd of July. Next up we have Lost Castle 2. This is a beat 'em up roguelite. The game is pretty stacked with over 200 different weapons and armors to customize your playstyle with. You have more than 140 treasures to find that have different effects, changing the gameplay as you collect them. There are of course a ton of challenging bosses to overcome as you make your way through the Crystal Mountains, the Dark Forest, the castles. I really like beat 'em up games, but they can often be very simplistic. Like a really good combo system or the flexibility like this game has with a lot of different ways to play is what beat 'em ups kind of need these days. Hopefully this one will deliver. Developed by Hunter Studio, early access is planned for 25th of July. It looks like the game is going to stay in early access for at least a year. And then we finally get to play Frostbank 2. On the 25th of July we get to make some hard decisions while trying to survive. If you haven't heard about this game series, it's a strategy simulation game where an apocalyptic blizzard have ravaged Earth, freezing the whole planet. You now have to make hard decisions in order for your city to survive. The first game was on a much smaller scale and was really hard. The second game looks to expand the game in every way possible. You are still the steward of the city and will have to manage the expansion of the city, the hunger, the opinions of different factions, manage emerging crises, forge laws. I mean, it looks so good, can't wait to play this one. Developed by 11-Bit Studios, release is planned for 25th of July. Thank you so much for watching, have a great day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.